Alright, well, little update on the previous video that I uploaded um, not too long ago. I found what was causing the problem with the lag and the memory leak that I was having. Um, so when I was redrawing the object, I was retexturing it every time, and so I was loading a new soil file for the same texture. Um, or for the same um, vertex. Even though I'm loading different vertices, you don't. Well, from what I didn't know, like you don't have to load um, a new texture to that file because that texture will stay bound to that to that specific vertex, even if you change the vertices to something else, like the combined vertices, which is really interesting and something I didn't know. So now I'm getting 60 frames per second and no memory leaks. So it's a huge difference. It's crazy what a memory leak can do. And I'm kind of like new to you know to all this, and I don't really know too much in regards to trying to keep memory from getting out of hand. I know it's really important because if you have a memory leak, it can cause a lot of issues. And this is an example, perfect example of uh, having a memory leak. So I essentially went from 10 frames per second to 60 frames per second just because of a memory leak. That's that's absolutely insane. Like if you think about it, like if you're playing a game or anything really that has a memory leak, man, that's some big issues right there. I mean, it could cause huge performance losses. I mean, look at this now. It's like it's flawless. No leaks, 60 frames per second. That's up from 10 frames per second. Um, Mind you, this is if you don't know, this is I'm a new programmer. This is me working on OpenGL, C++, learning, how to graphics and animation, just for fun. So I'm going to show you what I did right after I take a hit from this. All right, so I'm going to show you what I did. Let's see what we were doing before. Before I was running it through this draw function. And when it goes through this draw function, it just takes the old it took well, I was deleting the old vertex and then redrawing it. So I was thinking, gosh, why is, I'm deleting the vertex, so why isn't what's the problem? And then I'm in my mind I'm thinking, gosh, I'm really like texturing that multiple times. I wonder if that has anything to do with it because the image file is also a pointer. Oh, yeah. So that could be a problem. And I do see that I'm actually going up a little bit in memory here. I'm not sure if that's a shift, if it'll still keep going up. So I might still have some sort of memory leak. I'm not entirely sure where it is, but I'm going to locate it. Just noticed that. But huge improvement from before. And so what I was doing, I figured out that, okay, well, we can't keep creating an image file and then retexturing it because you don't need to. It's already the data's already there. It's already textured. You don't need to do it again. So what I ended up doing was I could put a loop in here or some kind of if statement, but instead I just went ahead and did a whole new function with the quote unquote animate function. And yeah, that memory is still going up. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to catch that later, but it's a lot slower than what it was, and it's a lot more steady than what it was. And that's because what I do is that I delete when I go into the change the object to a different combined vertices, I delete the previous vertex like I was doing before, and then I create a new buffer object, and then I link the vertex array, and then do the same thing as above for drawing. But what I don't add is the texture. Um, uh, I don't texture it again. I just go ahead and enable what I want to enable, and then close it, and then it's done. But for some reason, it still looks like I'm having a memory leak here, and I'm not entirely sure where that's coming from. Um, yeah, that might take a little bit to to find, but yeah, the memory leaks are fun. Yeah, so that's, you know, I mean, considering that I went from 10 frames per second to now 60, and I still have that memory leak, but yeah. So I guess I didn't entirely solve the problem yet. It was steady for quite a bit, but now it's going back up. I might have a buffer or something that I'm not deleting when I'm changing the object to a different uh, animation. Hmm. Well, just a little insight there. So yeah, 10 frames per second to 60 frames per second. Catch those memory leaks. I'm gonna catch them more. I'll figure out what's wrong with this one. Not entirely sure, but I think uh, I think that's a good insight, though. That you know how big of a problem such a small problem could be uh, for a memory leak. As you know, as I'm memory leaking right here. Anyways, this is the quick update on the previous video. I'll probably have another update to this video in regards to what's causing this memory leak now. Um, wonder if I could find that while I'm in here streaming. Well, let's see what we have going on here. So, um, updating the frames. That's something I had to add. Don't think that would have anything to do with it. I am moving the vertex over time. That's a possibility. Um, what else? No, it can't be that. Um, can't be any of that. I mean, the only thing that I think it could be is it's the vertex buffer object, and I just have to delete that because it does have a buffer in it. And if I'm deleting the vertex array, I have to delete the buffer too, and then remake it. That way, no memory leaks. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try that real quick. Um, and we'll lower this down to 25 for now, and so it loads quicker. Make this 25, that 25, just for the sake of keeping it how it was before. I'll get rid of the current frame or FPS monitor, and let's see what else. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I just don't think this is like this is it, but I'm gonna go ahead and try it. Um, doesn't hurt, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So this is my array. That array is good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Releasing stuff. Good, good, good. Um, I guess we could try it. See what happens. Takes a little bit to load. Shouldn't take too long. It's only 25 animations. Let that sit for a bit. And it looks like it's still moving up slowly. Keep an eye on it for a second. 25. It's really quick on 25. I had 100 animations before, now it's only 25, so it's going really, really quickly. I think it was about 5 minutes in or so, and then it started jumping up. It looks pretty smooth right now, but could be deceiving. But I'm pretty sure that's the only thing it could be is the buffer, not deleting the buffer and then overwriting it with new data, and then the buffer has some data left over in it or something like that, and it's just not a good idea to copy data into a buffer that's already created unless you know that you're only changing like one value or something like that. Um, Whereas here I'm actually creating a whole new buffer with a whole new set of data. So I should just delete that buffer entirely and then delete the vertex array, and then go ahead and you know, add the data that I want. And it looks like that's what the problem was. So definitely delete the buffers. And I had it in there before, but I had to test it in terms of, okay, well, is this causing my memory leak? Because if I delete the vertex array, I was thinking, okay, well, okay, it's attached to the vertex array. The buffer is attached to the vertex array, and the vertex array is, um, passed along as the um, well, it's the buffers, yeah, bound to the vertex array. So if you delete the vertex array, the buffers will stay there, right? And then if you don't delete the buffer, it'll just, and you create a new one, it's going to be data on top of data on top of data on top of data. So you're going to have a memory leak in that term. So yeah, I don't know why I was thinking that I didn't need to delete that. That was stupid. But it looks like that was the problem. Um, and I can move around a lot quicker than I could before. It's insane how much quicker this is just because of a memory leak. But actually, it looks like it's going down here. Um, let's look at the snapshots. Up. It'll probably go up, down, up, down, up, down. Yeah, that's what that that's what I want. Even going down more. Oh man, that's beautiful. All right. So that just means I solved that problem. That's a good sign. I like that. Being mindful of memory. I don't know why. I just have like this sense of trying to be efficient and not using, stuff that I don't have to. It's and I feel like that kind of uh, puts me in a box, from doing what I want to do. But then again, if I go outside that box of doing what I want to do, and then I might have, inefficient code and inefficient things that might get in the way later. So I feel like I should stay inside that box and stay efficient and find the problems while I'm there, and then, instead of like going outside the box, you could just, grow the box or scale it, whatever. I don't know, it's a weird a weird analogy, but it makes sense to me. So yeah, so 51, staying steady. So I like that. Um, I think I think all is well. Yeah, this right here, it was the array of characters. I think that was up to 1 million before I found out that's what was causing the issue. I was looking at it, I was like, God, that looks like a really high number, man. Okay, well, that's definitely the problem. So, um, and it was. So definitely delete your buffers and vertex arrays if you're going to redraw um, the an object that you had bound to that vertex array and buffer. So unless you're changing it specifically, like one value or something like that, I don't even know how you would do that, but I I I would probably just delete the whole thing and you know I unless you're really good at dealing with memory and going in there and editing things. I don't know. I'm not that advanced, so I mean, I could probably do it, but I mean, why? This works perfectly. So, um, there's no need to go in there and mess things up and possibly have a memory leak when you could just delete it and redraw it and get 60 frames per second. So, yeah. Let's let's try one more thing here. I'm gonna go back up here. Where is it? There you are. Okay. So I think I'm going to go back to 100 because this is where it actually was. This is the animation, so 100 different vertices. Um, and I'm going to go ahead and load that, and that's actually what was where it was at when it was leaking earlier. So we'll find out if that's having the same problem. This is going to take a while to load. Um, I was thinking about actually threading this function here because what it does is it has to actually open a whole bunch of different files, read through the lines, and sort things out, and it would be a lot quicker and more efficient if I threaded it. That way I could run like 5 different processes, 5 different things on 5 different threads, um, opening files and reading them. It would go 5 times quicker, or even 10 threads, So I don't know, I was thinking about playing around with threading with that. Plus, it would kind of give me a little more experience with threading. Um, so I think that might be something I might work on next. A little bit of threading. Um, yeah, that would give me a little bit of experience in terms of multi-threading, and multi-threading is really important, so should know that. All right, so it's staying at 91. It's a little less crazy. Well, it falls quick, but it stays there for a little bit so you could actually see it. Um, and if you didn't know how I'm actually creating this different animations, if you want to know, I'm actually using Blender, and what I'm doing here, let's just watch this on the side here. What I'm doing here is so let's actually, it's actually a tutorial on this cloth. You could do it with a lot of things, but it's pretty easy. If we go from the I don't know if I want to even go through all that. There's like plenty of tutorials, but I suppose. All right, so let's do it. So let's do a new. Oops, yeah. So let's do a new, and then I'm gonna go in here and then I'm going to go ahead and create a plane, and then I'm going to go upwards, and then I'm going to extend that plane to about right there. I'm going to zoom out, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to the edit mode, and I'm going to subdivide into little tiny pieces. And then I'm actually going to go into the material. I'm going to create a new material. I'm going to go to texture. I'm going to create a new texture. I'm going to put that to both, and then I'm going to open up my texture files, and then I'm going to grab, I think, I wonder how leather would work. I think I tried that last time. It didn't look so good. Let's try it again. So we'll try leather this time. But I don't think you're going to be able to see it that well because I'm running the animation, the emissions animation for the matrix effect. But so let's go to, let's see what I want to enable. No, just keep it simple. Go here and we'll assign that to that guy, and then we'll go to texture and we'll give it some UVs, and now we'll have like a leather looking texture. The next thing, let's see, we'll go back to object mode, select this guy, go over to the far right, go to collision, yes, collision, and then I don't think I should change anything. Stickiness, nah, we'll just keep it how it is. Go back to this guy and we'll make it, here you had like the cloth, the fluid. Oh, actually, fluid would be pretty cool. I haven't tried that yet. We'll try fluid this time. Let's see. Particle fluid? How about just regular fluid? Alright, so let's see. Volume. Probably don't need that. Initial velocity on the Y. Let's just do 1. And then 0.2 and 0.4. And I've never actually done this yet. This is the first time for fluid. So instead of cloth, we'll do fluid. And oh yes, was it edit mode? I believe it was edit mode. Render. Okay, bake. No. Did we do that yet? No, we got object mode. And what else do I have to do here? So I've never actually done fluid. This might be a little different. Don't think I need to do the physics. I should just be able to render and there should be a bake, and I forget where it actually. We have the collision for that, that's good. And this should have the texture. So object, was it object? Yeah, it was object mode. That might have been under like when I actually went for cloth. And went to cloth, yeah, so I went to cloth cache and then I baked it. So I've never actually done the fluid, so bear with me. So we'll get rid of cloth. How about cloth fluid? Can you put that together? That would be interesting. Um, so you have different types. I wonder if you could do. I wonder if the cloth would actually go on there, and then it would it would kind of roll down into puddles of water. Let's do leather. I don't think this will actually. Well, it's set together fluid and cloth, so we'll see what happens. Make the quality a little better. Repel, probably just one. Distance, I don't know, 3. See how that looks. Stiffness, don't need that. Sewing springs, fluid. We have the fluid. Oh yeah, so it does add it fluid to that. Okay, that's cool. I guess we could go to 250. Takes a long time to load. So the mass. Okay, so velocity is good. Spring. Okay, so let's test this out. See what it looks like. Might take a little while to load. Let's check this guy. Still 91. Okay, that's perfect. Loving that. So, I think once that loads, I'm gonna test the fluid and see how that looks for the animations. So I guess this isn't actually a bad way to animate things. I mean, as long as I'm 60 frames per second. I could probably add like tons of these, and it would still be just fine. Um, so I mean, if I wanted to add animation in this way, I could. I could make it, part of, this is part of something uh, bigger. For example, like if I had animations and then I had skeletal structures and I could add skinning and such too. That might actually be an option. So I could have just, different options. So if I want to do animation, you know, maybe it's just an animation, no one's controlling it, it's just moving, right? So like maybe a cinematic, for example, or um, I don't know. Really, there's a lot of things you can do. Cinematics are probably the main thing, though. Maybe if you just have a NPC walking, he's not moving. There's no character like controlling him. You're just like animating him, right? So could be like the animation for things that aren't controlled. And then the controllable things, such as players and items and that you may have around, or possibly trees, could have like a skeletal structure in them. Even trees, though, you don't even really need a skeletal structure for a tree, because you could actually do all the animation unless you wanted like wind or something effect. That might be a different story. But yeah, let's see if Blender's done here. Okay, so it looks like it's done. I'm gonna go ahead and play this, and it still looks like a piece of cloth, or actually it looks like a leather. So it didn't look like it added the fluid effect to that, which is kind of interesting. Not entirely sure how to add that fluid effect. Oh, okay. So you add the fluid effect after? No. So what would that be? Okay. So I guess I could bake this with a domain? Not entirely sure. Okay, let's see. So fluid world. Um, Viscosity presets. Ooh, we could do honey. Something is really lagging in this. Oh yeah, because I'm still playing the animation. Let's stop the animation. There we go. I was wondering why it was laggy. Okay, so we have that, so let's try it. No fluid input object in the scene. I might have to go look stuff up on this, because I'm not entirely sure how to go about doing this. Yeah, I might have to look it up. I could play around with it, see what happens. Okay, so that should be fine. Fluid input object. How do you add a fluid input object? That is the question. Well, we could always find that out. Fluid simulation. Let's see. So fluid. All fluid objects must be in the domain. Fluid objects outside the domain will not bake. Okay, so how do I add the domain? So I have the domain. Maybe I have to. Whoa. Whoops. Didn't want to do that. I have to somehow add it. No fluid input object in the scene. Okay. So inside the domain button. Anyways, I'm gonna probably read up on this a little bit. It's probably a little boring watching it, so for the most part, I got this this done, so that looks pretty cool. So now I'm gonna work with fluids and other things and see what else I can come up with to add to this. And maybe I'll add a whole bunch of different effects and see what happens. Maybe add a box under here so it actually looks like it's falling on something rather than on thin air. But you never know. Hey, it could be a ghost under there or something like that. Anyways, you guys have a good one.